Okay, I want to share with you a really interesting story that I was checking out, and this is by Stuff. This is actually an interesting one from them. So this is about a guy who believes that he is a common law sheriff, and wow, I mean, it's a lot to unpack, but I'll just read a small bit from it, and all credit to Stuff on this. A Bay of Plenty man charged with threatening to kill Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern was handcuffed and dragged into the dock at Tauranga District Court today after he refused to move beyond the public gallery. So this happened a wee while ago. And this guy, 39-year-old from Tauranga near Te Puke, was appearing on 3 charges, including threatening to kill Jacinda Ardern on November 26th last year and January 19 this year. He is also charged with obstructing a police officer and failing to assist an officer exercising a search relating to his arrest on March 29. He is believed to follow the common law sheriff movement. Like, what? What is that? When his name was called, he said, "I believe you're referring to me." But he said he wanted to be referred to as Richard, not by just his surname. Judge Ingram refused, saying he would use his surname. So this guy is actually still on the run, and he is out in who knows where. Since he was dragged into the dock, he was supposed to come back, I believe, for sentencing, and he hasn't come back. And so common law sheriff, I think what that kind of mixes in with a little bit is the sovereign citizen thing, where people don't want to be associated or controlled by a government. And, you know, they want to be a rule unto their own. Okay, so here's the trouble with that. If you live in a country and they have a government, if you were born there, you've got a passport there, a birth certificate there, you have to abide by the laws. Now, sure, I get it. You don't want to, you go, no, I want to be my own person. My suggestion to you is to go buy a fucking island. Like Richard Branson bought his own island. That other guy in America who did all that naughty shit, he bought an island. And they do whatever they want. I'm not running those two guys together, and I'm not even referencing his name. So the answer is become a billionaire, buy your own island, do whatever you want. But if you live in a country that has a government and you break some rules, chances are you're going to have to go to court and you're going to have to deal with the consequences. I get it, but people want to be free from the idea of having to live by certain laws, or they see the world in a different form of reality compared to everyone else. But it's unavoidable. They're all set up. All these laws are in places, and people are going to go do their job. The courts are going to do their job, and then you're going to end up in a nice big prison cell. So there's no way of avoiding it, short of having enough cash to become a billionaire. And then by the time you've become a billionaire, you know, you've identified that you're a good wee capitalist, and you probably wouldn't even need to buy your own island because you can affect change in the laws and rules by influencing politicians. That's just the way it seems to go. You're like, man, I really don't like those laws on property values and stuff. I'm going to influence that guy there and just change it a little bit. You know, I don't like that policy. I don't like how that law looks. Can we just, you know, how much do you need? A couple of million? Yeah, okay, cool. Job's done. So the long story short, I think, for me is the idea of the sovereign citizen or sheriffy, whatever they are. I get it. I think it's more of a esoteric idea. And maybe if you're in the middle of the desert and no one else is around, you could implement it. But when a country has a government and you break some rules that government dictates are rules, you just have to play along with it. I mean, if every single person who was in front of the court tried to assert that right, they'd go out of their mind. It's not a very structured or smart sort of excuse to say I don't abide by these laws because I'm a free human being. The judge is just going to look at you and go, well, are you in for a surprise today, sir? How tight would you like those handcuffs? Anyway, so the guy that made these threats, he's still on the run. And I guess, there are places you can hide in New Zealand. There's another guy who's hiding out who's taken his kids into the forest in the North Island. Now, I don't know, technically he hasn't done anything wrong apart from not appearing at his own court-ordered meetings, whatever you call it. So yeah, at least 2 people on the run in New Zealand. That's weird. But I don't think you can hide for long. This is a pretty small place. Decades ago, 2 teenagers, they tried to escape on a boat, but they were found and brought back. So, it's not hard to find someone trying to get on a boat and escape New Zealand. Or get on a plane, you're going to need a passport. Chances are every single person at a backpackers or a hotel or a motel knows, to be wary of certain people. So the best thing you can do is go to the court-appointed hotel and chill out. If I was to give you any advice, and my advice is not legal advice, but don't make threats. Don't try the sovereign citizen angle. I don't think it's going to work for you. Sovereign sheriff. I want to see what that name was again. Common law sheriff. I wonder if I can click on that and see. Because there were some self-proclaimed sheriffs who were down at the Wellington protest at the start of the year. I want to see what the description was. That was a nutfest. The protests down in Wellington. I'll do a story on that at some point, but I think I need people to cool off for a wee bit after that. The common law, so this is still on stuff. This common law sheriff movement draws inspiration from the sovereign citizens phenomenon, which has had a minor influence in New Zealand before now. The FBI in the United States has previously described sovereign citizens as domestic terrorism threat. Broadly speaking, its central idea is that the government, which they believe is actually a corporation, is inherently illegitimate, and thus so are its laws and regulations. I can see that. I mean, definitely the government is a business of sorts, and its business is running the land. But, there are things that I like about having a government, which is like they have fire and police and ambulances and protecting the borders and stuff, and ensuring that, people don't run scams all the time. They regulate things. I know it's pretty nice being able to go into hospital and say, I think I'm sick. Can you check me out? And if I am sick, then a doctor will put something in my arm and I won't be sick anymore. That's one of those rights and privileges that you get when you say, I'm going to vote for my elected officials, and I accept that under a government, some rights are taken away. That is just inherently part of it. When you vote, you are giving away your rights to be administrated by the government and by elected officials. So, you don't get that sovereign citizen kind of deal. But it's pretty nice going into a hospital and saying, I'm sick, can you please cure me? And someone does. I guess there are some outlying situations in that, like, I know that maybe the health system's got a long way to go with having a solid sort of cancer system in it for checking for people with cancers. I know that that's a thing that's been sort of falling away or falling behind here in New Zealand. But healthcare system, maybe I shouldn't get into that. That's a whole kettle of fish, that one there. Long story short, Don't be a sovereign citizen. I'm Nick Neem. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the next one.